Hi, I'm Rob.
And I'm Rob.
And this is Ask Rob and Rob.
Welcome to another episode of Ask Rob and Rob, that fixture of your Tuesday where we pop up and give you a couple of answers to your property questions. We can only do that, of course, if you send in your property questions. So before we hear what's in store for us today, let's have a quick recap of how you can get those questions in.
Yeah, here's Rob's personal direct line. No, only kidding. We've got a telephone number where you can call in, leave an answer phone message, and then we will play it on the show. You can call 013 808 0035, or you can go via our website, propertyhub.net/ask, and you can leave a message there. However you do it, it's obviously very simple. And again, that's why we keep coming back every week. We get lovely questions like this one from Charlie.
Hey guys, my name's Charlie, based in Manchester. I wanted to ask about a year or two ago, me and my big sis almost bought a two-bed flat with the view of eventually turning it into a buy-to-let. But we ended up pulling out of it because we found out that the owner had sold the parking. So what I wanted to ask was, how important do you think parking is when trying to buy properties similar to that one? Cheers, guys. Love the show.
I love Ask Rob and Rob because when you think you've answered everything, you get another question in and you go, great question. We've not covered that before. Thank you for your question, Charlie. There is no yes or no answer here. It's a depends, because some areas will benefit from having parking and in other areas it'll make no difference whatsoever. And it can even be in different parts of a city or town the answer changes. It's a bit like having your property furnished. Should you do it or should you leave it unfurnished? Well, again, it's going to depend on the property and the location. But here's how you find out. So we'll give you the tools. We'll teach you how to fish. All you need to do is when you're looking at a property like this is call up letting agents. Tell them you're looking to buy a property and say, I'm considering a parking option. You don't have to tell them you haven't got the option. If you tell them you don't have parking, then they'll tell you it's not needed. But say you have the option to take the parking space. Will that help me when it comes to letting the property out? And will it also help me achieve a higher rent? Now, if the answer is yes and yes, then you may want to go ahead. If the answer is no, well then, fantastic, you don't need the parking space. But it's only by putting that little bit of extra effort in, calling a few letting agents, remember, one could be wrong, and then, and only then, will you be best placed to answer that question.
Okay, well, we've already learned something, but we're only halfway through. Let's have a listen to our second question today.
Hi, Rob and Rob. I have a quick question about adding procurement costs to after we've refurbished the property. So in a test case where we purchased the property for £80,000 and then spent another £10,000 on refurbishment, can we then add another £5,000 as the cost towards procurement, i.e. towards stamp duty and conveyancing, to that total amount so that you're then requesting for a post-refurb remortgage of $95,000? Is that something that you would recommend? Is that something that others have done? I'd be really grateful for your thoughts.
Thank you for that question. And the good news is there's a really simple answer. You can try to remortgage at whatever value the property can justify based on the work that you've done to it. So don't think about your costs here. Think about the end value. So if you've bought the property for $80,000, spent $15,000, and you've done something incredible to the property and it's now worth $150,000, then you can remortgage based on that number. If though you've bought for $80,000, spent $15,000, but it's only worth $90,000, then you can only try to remortgage based on that figure of $90,000. So it's not about how much you've spent, it's about how much value you've added. It is important, though, to think about all the money that you're going to have to spend before you start. So if you forget to factor in costs like stamp duty and conveyancing, then that is going to affect the amount of money that you can pull back out again at the end. It's going to skew your figures. So do make sure you account for all that stuff. So the amount that you've spent isn't relevant when it comes to the end value, but it is relevant when it comes to the return that you're making from the investment and potentially how much money you're going to be able to pull back out again. So when you're running your calculations, do make sure you include conveyancing, stamp duty, all the other costs that will come up. Otherwise, you might find yourself disappointed when you get to the end and you can't pull back out as much money as you thought you could.
So that's us done. 2 questions, 2 answers. Simple format, but we all love it. So we'll be back next Tuesday with another episode with more of your great questions. And of course, we'll be back with the main event, the Property Podcast, on Thursday. So until those wonderful events take place, take care, have fun. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.